You see, something is going to happen. Something wonderful.
My God, it's full of stars.
Hey everyone, welcome to the NY Patriot Show. In today's episode, I'm very happy to have this guest on. It is the first time this gentleman will be on, and I'm sure I'll have him on and his co-host eventually in the future, because they do have plenty of topics that I've seen them cover that I'm very interested in. I got Sean from the Con Men podcast. What is going on, Sean? Thank you very much for coming on. And would you like to introduce yourself and let all the listeners know what your deal is, what your show's about, and whatever you'd like to plug?
Hey, yeah, what's going on? Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course.
I feel like we've been talking about this for weeks.
Oh yeah, because I booked you a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a crazy month and a half. I've been super busy going traveling and seeing my family and shit like that. But yeah, I do a conspiracy theory podcast. Me and my buddy Adam, and it's basically I go down these deep rabbit holes, and my co-host Adam, he doesn't come in. I mean, he has no idea what I'm going to come in with. So I come in, and we kind of just, it's like more of like a hang, but it's kind of like it's crazy. Like we started it. Like my whole idea of doing the show was like when you're hanging out with your friends, like when I was in high school. Yeah, just talking shit with your friends, and then you're like, man, what like you'll bring up something crazy. Like, and my shit was always conspiracy theories. And then we would just like talk about it, and we'll talk about like, oh yeah, what if the world's ran by these people and this and this. So that's basically what the show is. And that's it's awesome. Like, and it's got like it went from like fucking 20 downloads to like we're in like the tens of thousands now. So it's
good for you, man. Good for you.
It's fucking blown, especially lately. Like I know on YouTube we have no following because I just
that shit's hard.
It's hard, man, and not consistent. We're not consistent on there. We're getting strikes. We're getting channels. We got the channel pulled down for like 3 months. But yeah, yeah. Should I plug my Instagram? Or
yeah, whatever you want. What your social media, anything you want people to find you on, anything with your videos? Because I know you said you have BitChute, Rumble as well. All your whatever they can find you on podcasts. Plug it all, my man. Plug it all.
Yeah. Instagram. I'm at con_men_podcast. That's our biggest. That's like social media wise. That's probably our biggest one. Twitter has like no following. Only have like 300 followers. It's nothing. I don't have time to be on Twitter all day.
Yeah, it's like if you were to go to like my Twitter, you'd see like 4,500 followers, and then like my Instagram, I think is like a fucking 60,000. So it's just like Twitter's like so it's very different and whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Rumble. You can find us on Rumble. Just search Common Podcasts. I have a cooking show that I do also on YouTube that I launched a couple of months ago. Because that's like before I was doing all this, I was a professional chef. I've been doing it for about like 10 years. So I do a conspiracy themed cooking show called MKUltrEats. So,
that is awesome. MKUltrEats.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I thought about that like at late at night one time.
Yeah, that's like one of those random things that pop into your head, and you're like, oh, I got to go with that.
I gotta fucking do it now, like, because my wife was like, you should do a cooking show on YouTube and do it with conspiracy theories. I was like, that's fucking stupid.
You know what's funny? Then, I had thought about something like that about a year ago for Instagram, but I never did it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's a good idea.
It's hard.
It's funny as shit.
It's a fuckload of work. Like I recorded one in Port Aransas, which is in South Texas, and I butchered a fish and I cooked it. And it took me all day to record it. I still had to record all my cutaway scenes. I got to do all the voiceover. It takes like over a week to edit it.
Yeah, I don't think, when it comes to video, like if you're trying to make decent quality video, I don't think people like understand like how much is behind that. Like even stuff when I've gone out and filmed, like I went out to I went to Nashville and I filmed like the Masonic Hall and a bunch of buildings around it that all kind of had like the same symbolism. And I wanted to point that out. And it's like, I've had that for 2 months because I know when I go to do it, it's going to take so much time because like audio, editing, and like you were saying, like, sometimes when I've gone out and filmed stuff, the camera is going to pick up the sound, but it's like now I'm using mics so it sounds better. And then I have to, layer the mic actually over the video, make sure it matches, take out the other audio. There is a lot of work to be done in trying to make decent videos. And I don't think people have like any clue, really. I hate to say.
Yeah. And it's like in today's style of making like movies or documentaries, like no one puts music on them anymore, so it's all natural sounds. So if your natural sounds suck, then no one's gonna want to watch your shit.
And you know what really sucks about that is, I mean, maybe on other platforms, but it's like, you could want to put some background music in, and it's like if you put it up on YouTube, you got to worry about getting strikes and shit. It's so dumb. And then the only other way you could use music is then you got to go and pay for it.
Yeah. And it's really expensive. It
is. It is
crazy.
I've looked into it. I was like, yo, there is no way I'm paying this amount of money for music that is technically still copyrighted, but I'm allowed to use.
Yeah.
It's like so dumb.
I mean, I still listen to I watch documentaries that have music on them too. Like we just covered the Waco. Like we did a 4-part series on Waco, and there was a documentary called I can't remember it. It's called something. It was like made in like 1998. God damn, I can't remember the name of it, but it has all like the dramatic music, and it has like it shows all the fucking kids that died of cyanide, and it has like all the really dramatic music, and it's fucking really good. I hate to not promote what this documentary is called. Rules of Engagement. That's the name of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's what I do late at night. Is I just watch fucking documentaries when all the kids fall asleep. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch this one about Sandy Hook. Good night.
It's funny, we're talking about like even the music, and then we'll get into the topic. But like I had a guest on one time, Call the Crusher, and he does like a lot of stuff over by like Skinwalker Ranch and Wilson Ranch. And I wanted to have him on to like go over some of the stuff that he's been doing. And I thought one of the easiest things was to go through his videos that I had watched recently and take out a couple of shots of things and then ask him to, elaborate on it more. And I was like, I had him on my show. His face is right there. And then I'm pulling up things that he put on YouTube for him to talk about it. And because he had music that he had paid for in the background, it took my shit down and gave me my 3rd strike, and my channel got killed.
Holy shit.
I'm like, yo, I have the dude on my show. And you're giving me strikes saying that I'm ripping him off. I'm like, what the hell?
God
so
damn.
Dumb, so dumb.
I never thought about that.
That's
fucked up.
I couldn't get it either. It was blowing me away. And then he was like, yo, he's like, I actually pay for my music. He's like, I guarantee you the music playing in the background is what's screwing you up. And he was right. Eventually, when they took down the live, and then they put it back up after his music was done playing. And then eventually the episode they took down like a few days later. And the reason was the same thing that he was telling me that he thought it might have been. And I was like, yo, they killed my channel over that.
Yeah. You know, Rumble would kill your channel too. Because of that. Yeah. They don't want you. I've never got it. It's never happened to me, but I've heard of creators that used music on there, and they're really strict about copyright music over there. That's the only thing they're really they're really strict about that I know about. They're just like, just don't use licensed music.
Out of everything, that's the one thing. That's so funny.
Like, come on, Dan Bongino, what the fuck you doing over there?
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, so yeah, you did mention the Waco, Texas, and I was gonna bring that up just real quick. You guys have done, like you said, a bunch of shows on that stuff. And recently, so I was going to mention that too. It's like kind of something I noticed you guys have been going over a lot. I was just going to mention that if people are into that, go check them out. They have plenty of episodes on that. So
yeah.
But today we're on the Unabomber.
On the show, we are obsessed with the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski.
Very interesting character.
Like he's interesting, and he's also very based. Like the guy has maybe one of the best manifestos you will ever read. Like it's fucking long as shit though. Like we went over it and we're not line by line. I couldn't get through it. It was
Oh, that shit's deep.
It's fucking long, but he's basically what he's talking about is I'm gonna say he had good ideas. I'm not supporting him bombing and killing people, but he was saying that like this kind of like all this tech shit is going to eventually take the humanity down. Like he was just based as fuck, but he just like went a little crazy. Like he's just an interesting dude.
Was he the one? I get confused with who it was, but was he the one that eventually they even admitted that he was like an MKUltra person? Or was that somebody else?
He was part of the MKUltra tests. So like when he was at Harvard, let me double check my notes, make sure.
Yeah, sure,
I'm not saying the wrong.
Oh yeah, this guy doesn't know shit because he screwed up one thing. Yeah,
it was Harvard. Yeah, we did a Skull and Bones episode. It was all about Yale, so I'll make sure I'm not saying that he went to Yale. But yeah, he was at Harvard, and he was part of the MKUltra tests. So like a lot of people think he was in the LSD test. He wasn't in the LSD. He was in a different type of test because you got to remember MKUltra was fucking massive. It was huge. It was a big program that was done all around the world. It was done. A lot of it was done in Canada, and most of it was done here, though. But we had a lot of doctors that we used in Canada. But we're talking about Harvard right now. Harvard did LSD trials, and then they also have this other one with Ted Kaczynski. Because Ted Kaczynski, throughout his life, was known as a genius. He has one of the highest IQs like maybe ever that ever recorded. Like
and like that's real, not like the guy from the Nixium cult where I think he just kind of said he was the smartest person.
Yeah, he was. I mean, we could. I don't want to get too far off of what I'm talking about with the Harvard thing, but I want to kind of explain what happens with him.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So when he's a baby, he gets kind of sick, like, and I don't remember how old. I think he might have been like maybe 1 or 2 years old, but they had to take him to the doctor, and like he goes to the doctor. They keep him in this hospital, and his family, like his parents, aren't allowed to see him. Like he's in a very impressionable age where he needs to be with his mom. Yeah. And stuff like that. And then when he comes out of this hospital, his personality is completely different. Like he's a completely different kid. So this is where they already started fucking with him. Ooh. And then this is where my conspiracy, like where my tinfoil hat with Ted Kaczynski is. I think they started manipulating him at a very young age, even when he was like a few months old. So like I wonder if they could just create geniuses. So like this kid's he's a fucking genius. By the time he goes to college, he's like a madman, like Doogie Howser. Like he's at Harvard at like fucking 16.
You know, that is interesting just even to say. I mean, the guy went to Harvard too. I mean,
yeah. He's at Harvard, and I think it's in the psychology. I think it's in I think it's a psychology program where he's. Let me make sure I got this right.
See, that's even another interesting thing. This guy's even involved with that type of stuff there still.
Yeah, so this teacher that he's like, here, you could be part of this program. I'm gonna have a bunch of students that are just like you, and you're gonna write these papers, like something you're really passionate about. Like you can write about religion, you can talk about politics, whatever, and you guys are just going to debate other people. But what they really did was he wrote this paper, and they brought in like this, like a district attorney, like these fucking seasoned fucking attorneys, and they went and read their papers and just started fucking ripping them apart. Like they would come in there and just kind of just undress them. Just totally fuck with them like for hours. And then the guy would make them watch the video of them just getting embarrassed. So it would just break them down, just totally fuck them up. And they would do it all the time. It was just like all this psychological shit to break them down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was a lot of it was a lot of really fucked up stuff. And that doesn't sound that crazy, but it was just like anyone that knows about MKUltra, it's all mind control. MKUltra is a mind control program. So during this time, they're just trying to figure out what they could do with the MKUltra and how they can break you down. Like there's another program that broke off of MKUltra called the Monarch that was never. They don't have actual documents about Monarch, but there's been a lot of
people do think that Aquino was involved with.
Yes, it's exactly what that is.
Thought so. Yeah.
We did an episode on it. Monarch is fucked up. It's way more dark and twisted than MKUltra is because it's trauma based. And this is what happened with this. They were trying to traumatize Kaczynski, and you can once you break down somebody with trauma, you have control over them. So like if you ever watch anything with Project Monarch, they work with the Catholic Church a lot. And I don't know how much your listeners get into the like more of these conspiracy theories, but with the Catholic Church, but the Catholic Church, they had a way where they knew where a kid is able to be controlled. They have an actual, you could see in their body language. Like there was this thing written by this priest where he was talking about their head would kind of like tilt to the left and their hands would kind of like clutch like this all the time. So it was like it's dark because they have their own playbook on how they know when a kid's fucking ready to be used for mind control or sex or through anything. Like when you send these people these children, or when they get not older, but like when they start using them as sex slaves or like shit like that. But yeah, Monarch's dark, especially Michael Aquino.
That is that's actually, you know, to be totally honest with you, it might be something I'd like to have you back on for. So.
Oh yeah, we did a whole episode on Michael Aquino.
I have had other people on, and it's just like that's a topic that I feel like you could easily do a couple of shows about because it really does go into so many different aspects. I mean, even like MKUltra, like you were saying, and I really appreciate the fact you brought it up. It's not all LSD. Mm-hmm. You know, you can spend a shitload of time, 2 or 3 episodes, talking about all the shit they did with LSD, but like there's still tons of stuff that had nothing to do with really the drugs and more of just screwing up your head, you know, from traumatizing you. And I think kind of like Monarch, I feel like a lot of that was all like traumatizing people at a young age. Yeah,
Michael Aquino, I don't know if you know about all this stuff he did at the daycare in San Francisco, where he was making the kids drink piss and eat feces.
Yeah, there was stuff with that, and when I had covered, God, I can't remember exactly. Maybe it was the Franklin cover-up when that starts getting into Paul Bonacci. Somehow that even ties into Michael Aquino, and then like he was over near that army base, supposedly a few blocks away, and they were taking kids from the army base daycare and bringing them to his house, and like some of the kids were even able to like tell them, like show them whose house and the directions. So
dude, I was born at that hospital that was like down the street in the same year he was doing that.
Wow.
And my brother, I asked my mom, I was like, because my brother's a few years older than me. I was like, was he at that daycare? She was like, you're disgusting. Why are you telling me this? Wow. My family hates my conspiracy theories, but whatever.
I can understand that.
But I mean, I only lived in San Francisco for like a year because my dad was in the Navy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm a Texas boy all the way.
Nice. New York here, unfortunately.
Well, my in-laws are from New York. I love New Yorkers. They're some of my favorite people.
Thanks. Yeah. You know what? Luckily, I finally moved though, so at least I'm out of the boroughs. I'm back into Long Island, and this is the first. I think this is the first show I'm actually doing recording in my new place. To tell you the truth, this is a completely different setup. This is the first time. I've never had this computer chair, this desk, or this background. So.
Yeah, this is my garage setup. I have like 30 fans blowing in my face right now because I'm in the garage. It's 108 degrees outside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hot one in New York, so I could just imagine how it is there.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the I don't want to get too far off, but back to the Unabomber again.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Where were we? Talking about him. Pretty much, you were talking about in Harvard, them kind of like screwing with him, basically, right?
Yeah. It's
See, like, and even stuff like that, as simple as that is, I feel like that could even be a little bit of the mind screwing, because it's like you're kind of like breaking him down and still thinking he's like doing it wrong or whatever. Like, I don't know. I could still see that, even though, like you were saying, it's nothing drastic. Those small little things, I think, add up.
Yeah, it's like it's
a tiptoe.
You're creating like with him sleeper cells, and like you got these guys that you can use for anything. It's like Timothy McVeigh or just think of like anyone, like these school shooters, like I know I said it earlier in the episode and you probably have to edit it out, but like what happened over there in that little school in Connecticut with that Adam Lanza.
I'm not gonna edit this out. I just won't go on YouTube.
Yeah. Dude,
I really would rather not edit and just choose different platforms.
But like these people are like it seems like they're being created in like it's not that crazy to say. Like MKUltra it started off as a program to create assassons.
I even think, I don't know if you heard about this Brent Kopecker stuff, but I even question him.
Oh, I haven't looked deep into that one yet.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you some good things to check out if you want to.
I saw that you're covering it.
Oh, well, that's the Brian Kohlberger. But yes, you know what the thing is we haven't gotten into too much, but I think we did touch on the last episode. There is a lot of ties with him and Kopecker that does seem weird.
Yeah.
And I would like to actually try to cover his case at some point, but now I'm like knee deep in this Go Beach stuff. So.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, making basically, I think MKUltra like assassins or slaves or killers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his stories it's pretty wild. It's like he's just such an interesting dude. Like he's basically a smarter version of Randy Weaver, because Randy Weaver, if anyone knows about Ruby Ridge, is he was like a guy that well, his wife thought the world was coming to an end, so like they went and moved out in the middle of nowhere with no electricity or running water or anything like that, and they ended up getting killed by a bunch of ATF agents and U.S. Marshals, and they killed his dog and his kid and his wife.
Right. That was when they were like in the middle of the woods, right?
Yeah, it was in Idaho.
That,
yeah. Like he was he sold out, like he got pretty much entrapped by an ATF agent, by like an undercover guy, to sell him a shotgun, a sawed-off shotgun. And you could sell sawed-off shotguns, I think, in Idaho, but it can't be sawed off a certain amount. So he sold this shotgun to this guy, and he sold him the sawed-off shotgun, and the ATF agent came back to him. He doesn't know ATF. He's undercover. He's like, hey, can you saw this off a quarter inch more? It was a quarter inch more. He's like, yeah, sure. And then since he did that, that's how he got in trouble. That's why he got indicted. And then since he didn't have electricity, they kept changing his date on his court date. So he didn't even know when his court date was, so he didn't show up. So it became a warrant. And that's how they fucking went in there. They were afraid to go inside of his house. So instead, they just started shooting into his house. It was fucking crazy. He didn't even know there were feds shooting. It was feds that were shooting in his house. He thought it was just like an intruder. And like the way a U.S. Marshal was like, they set up a whole surveillance around the house, and his dog ran out there, and the U.S. Marshal killed the dog in front of his kid. So his kid, I mean, everyone's going to be strapped out there. So his kid starts shooting back at the guy, and he misses. He runs away, and the guy shoots him in the back. And this is what leads to this like 11-day siege.
Now, was that guy, was he ever involved in like the service or anything?
Yeah, he was in the Army. I think he was
was also the Unabomber. He Haven't you noticed, like, that's a huge commonality between a lot of these people that were in the service at some point?
Oh, speaking of all that stuff and Michael Aquino, how this all connects, after Vietnam, there was the highest number of serial killers, like right after Vietnam. It was like during and after. It all happened around the Vietnam era. And Michael Aquino was involved with like Project Phoenix. I think it's called Project Phoenix, where they were assassinating people and they were killing civilians, like and really fucking with people's heads. Because Michael Aquino was in charge of like he was like in the psyop division.
Yeah. Did you ever look into Edwards Lansdale?
No. Who's that?
You should check him out. He was like the Aquino before Aquino.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He did some crazy stuff in the Philippines and a couple of other countries over there. I mean, he had people thinking like there was ghosts and like things talking to them in the sky. He had people thinking that people, vampires, were killing, the opposition in the woods and in the jungle and hanging them from the trees and shit. Oh, yeah. The guy was like playing like music and stuff out of like helicopters, and people thought it was like voices. Fucked up.
That's cool. What? Hold on.
Edward Lansdale.
I'm surprised I've never heard that name before.
Yeah. Some people do also think. I mean, there's not much evidence on it, in my opinion, but you never know. I wouldn't doubt it. But some people think he was also involved in the JFK assassination.
Oh, dude! I was just listening to those conspiracy guys. They did hours on on JFK. It's really fucking interesting. Oh. But yeah, these guys. I'll give those guys a shout out. But Michael Aquino and all these guys are deeply into the occult. So like that shit's all really interesting to me. And like that they're all Satanists. Like I know for a fact that Michael Aquino is a Satanist. He had the Church of Set.
Well, I mean, he got Satanism recognized in the armed forces as a religion.
Yeah, and a lot of people rightfully have said that like the United States government and the military is all involved with Satanism. Like you can even, I just found this the other day. The movie The Exorcist was based on the guy, because it's not a girl. It's actually about a guy. I don't remember his name on the top of my head, but later on he was involved in the Apollo program with NASA.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. I never knew that before. I saw that the other day. I was like, whoa, that's a weird rabbit hole.
So, do you think not to get away, but I'm just trying to. I don't want to get off the topic too much.
I'm chaotic.
No, it's all right, because I can do the same thing, and I'm actually really just trying to control myself, not you. With Ted Kaczynski. All right, so he's in Harvard, and we were talking about how you even thought that he was being screwed with and stuff and this and that. I guess what else would you, not to put you on the spot, but like what else was he like doing in school? Is there anything else you want to mention with Harvard or in his education going forward? When he wrote his dissertation, like his math, because he went there for math. He's like a math genius. So like he wrote this dissertation, and like the people that read his dissertation, they said they're like this shit's like on another level. Like it's such on another level that like maybe 20 people in the world would understand what he just fucking did. And oh wow.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. And he hated school. He fucking hated it. All he wanted to do was he wanted, because one of his first jobs out of school, he became a professor in like California or somewhere, and he fucking hated it, and his students fucking hated him, and he's just like, he's an asshole. Like he's like somebody that is autistic. You ever deal with people that are autistic and they just don't care about you or anything? They just they're so logic based that they're like robots. A lot of these guys. That's how he was, and. So, but he fucking hated it. All he wanted to do was, and this was the point I was making with the Ruby Ridge thing, is he goes in to this little area and he thinks he's living off the grid, but he has neighbors that are like maybe 100 feet away. But he basically just lives in like a closet, like in this like little shack in the middle of nowhere that has no electricity, no running water, nothing. So, in like he just goes out there and lives off the grid, and he just wants to make his bombs. He's obsessed with making bombs, and the reason he wants to make these bombs is because this thing really set him off. He was seeing a psychologist, and he was talking about when he was in college. He was talking about this girl that he was like that he really wanted to talk to, and this psychologist like convinced him that he might be a woman trapped in a man's body, and like this, and then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go get a sex change. So he goes to he gets it all set up. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go get my sex change. I'm gonna become a woman because he's like, I feel like I'm a woman. And then and you can look all this stuff up. This is 100% true. When he's going to get his sex change, he's like in the office, and he's like, what the fuck? What am I doing? What am I doing? Like, he's like, fuck this. He's like, everything that guy told me was wrong. He's like, I should kill that fucking doctor that told me that.
Or get a new one at least.
Yeah. So he was like thinking about like, he's like, well, that's really what set him off. Like, start becoming a guy that makes bombs, and like and he starts making these bombs. He starts sending them out. Like, I think the reason they called him the Unabomber is because he was sending them to universities and airlines. So that's where Unabomber came from. These guys in the newspapers are fucking genius marketers. Unabomber. How cool! Like, he didn't make that up.
You know what's wild? It's probably as soon as like that shit hit the news, there was like somebody like already like, all right, you got to think of a name to make this sound. You know, there's probably already people, like a small little team to just come up with that name.
Yeah, I got a marketing department, and that's when everyone like read the newspapers back then. So they're like, we gotta come up with something. This is it's fucking summertime. Like, there's no football on right now. Like, we gotta get everyone focused on something. Oh, serial killers. People love serial killers. This guy makes bombs. Let's keep everyone inside, because you could just open something and you're dead.
Yeah. I remember when that happened.
Yeah,
it was news. It was big news.
Dude, he was around for like decades. Like, they took him. He was around for a while. Like, I don't remember when he started. I think he was around for like 30 years. He was making bombs for about 30 years.
Oh wow,
it's fucking wild. And no one knew who he was. He was like the FBI agent that was like investigating him was like talking about like how much better his bombs would get every time. He had I don't remember what his MO was. I think it had to do something with like wooden boxes. It's been a while since I did that episode, but he knew it. Like, he had a signature like every serial killer, serial bomber, serial anything. And so like every time he make a bomb, like his first bomb sucked. It was not good, but it took him years to actually kill somebody. He would send these bombs and they'll blow up. And then like he sent one in an airplane and it blew up, and because it was this type of bomb where it gets to a certain altitude, it blows up. But what happened, it blew up in the cargo area, and they just had to land the plane. It didn't really do anything. It just destroyed a bunch of luggage.
Well,
but wow. By the time he started killing people, his shit was so fucking sophisticated. They're like, whoa, this guy is crazy good at making bombs now.
Oh, well, I mean, if he was doing it for that long, I mean, I would hope you'd get better after a while. Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying, like he is a guy like that. I hate to say admire, but I like that he tried to get better at his life.
Yeah, he perfected his craft.
Yeah, like you want to get. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was reading the 12 rules of life.
Have you ever wondered if he was a patsy and just like, you know, there's other people involved maybe? Have you ever wondered about that?
You know, I always say patsy. Like, I know that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't kill JFK. But I do think this guy was the guy that made all the bombs.
Okay, all right.
Because he might have got some FBI help. That's why he was able to do it for so long.
Okay.
But because I mean, you want people. I can't think of anything where they've enacted laws like after him, like, because a lot of times when, like, just think of the Oklahoma City bombing, like right after that they started enacting all these gun laws, or not gun laws, like they started expanding, like this is like the early ages of the Patriot Act. Right after that shooting in Connecticut, you had the they passed some of the harshest gun laws. But as far as this one, I'm not too familiar. Maybe there is something where it's the early days of the Patriot Act, where they're like, we got to surveil everyone because we need to find out who this bomber is.
Yeah.
But
no, I didn't ever really think about that until now, actually. So that's why I just happened to ask you. It happened to pop into my head because I was like, maybe I was just wondering if there was other people involved which helped him, like you said, go as long as he did. Maybe, who knows? It's very just wondering.
Yeah.
Because that's a really, imagine if, let's just think about it though. Imagine like you're this dude and like every time like you send out one of these things, it has to cross your mind like this could be the one that sends me to jail for a long time.
Yeah, that's
and
gotta be the
imagine
rush.
like doing that for 30 years. Well, I'll even say 20 years. I mean, who knows? You said before you weren't exactly sure of the dates. Even trim it down to 20 years. 20 years is a long time to be like screwing with those chances, and like I don't know. I mean, that's just, I guess if you're mental, you don't even care maybe. But like to me, it's just like that's a long time to keep on pushing your luck. Unless you know you're not going to get caught. You know what I'm saying? Or there's somebody else there and you think the plan is like so good you won't get caught. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
On my notes I found, it said it was 17 years. He did 16 bombings.
17 years?
Yeah, and he killed 13 people and he injured 23.
God, even those numbers are weird. 17 is like very occult. And then, would you say 20?
23 injured.
Okay.
13 murdered.
13. The 13 is,
Yeah. If I just saw 33 on there, like, whoa, what is that? All right, what we got here?
Well, you know what the thing is, too, even recently with certain crimes, it's not a 13, but you'll get a 1 and a 3. Like the Idaho 4, you got 1 dude, 3 chicks. You got, this thing with Rex, you got like the 3 crimes, but like the 1 prior pending, but like, that they might charge him with, or like other things. I just have noticed a lot of 1 and 3, regardless if it's a 13 or, technically a 4, but being split up by 1 and 3.
These guys they're obsessed with numbers. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's hard to get in numerology. People send me shit on Instagram about numerology. I'm like, dude, it's like I'm not that autistic where like I'm looking at numbers and counting fucking syllables. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
So I do. But that's like a whole part of like with gematria and magic. So like, shit like that, I do that, and I do think, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people are interested or grasp it. But for me, like, I do add it just for the people that are, and if you understand it, sometimes I do think it can show more like proof that like this shit seems to all match.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a very deep thing to start fucking with. It's
hard
and time consuming.
I'm not discounting it either.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying it's hard for me to follow. I like.
Oh, I get that. I understand that.
I like stories. I don't like numbers.
I get that. Well, that was even like a thing that you were saying before, and I found it very interesting about this guy. To me, like if you were kind of a magician or an occultist, you're going to be very interested in psychology because you're gonna realize like how your own shit works. And then math, again, back to gematria and numbers. I can see how being into math and messing with numbers would go along with being a magician and occultist. So, like, I'm wondering, like, was he even taking those classes just because that's what he was interested in with his magic? You know what I'm saying? Or being an occultist. You never know.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, Ted Kaczynski was, he was just like a different guy. The only thing I think is he was created. I'm not saying like he was like a clone or something, or maybe he was, but I think that this guy was probably being groomed to be this thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
His whole life. That's where I am with the conspiracy. I've yet to see. I mean, it's probably out there, and someone that's listening to this are like, yeah, the fucking Patriot Act. Oh, yeah, yeah, it probably is. But I don't know. Probably, most likely. That's where I'm gonna have it. Most likely.
No, well, that's kind of why I wanted to have you on, is because just my theory. I do think that there was probably, like you said, he was being groomed. I mean, regardless if he was a magician or not, he could still be controlled. But I thought he was being groomed. So then, like, you know, if you're being groomed to do all this stuff and, like, you were almost kind of like MKUltra, you're being controlled while you're doing this, I could see how when your project or your job is done, we'll also take you out as well. We'll just, you know, kill the program.
Oh, yeah,
you know, it's like what you do when you're done with the program in your computer. You just, you know, tell the hard drive it's not there anymore.
Yeah,
you write over it. So it's just like, you know, is that what was done to him? So that's exactly, I was thinking the same thing as you, which is why I do question if he really killed himself.
Yeah, and it's I think he was older. He had I think he had cancer. I think that's what killed him. And I've like it. I don't know. Because we did the whole thing, because I think we put it on Patreon at first, and people loved it. Like, you got to put it on the regular channel. You got to put it on the regular RSS, and then the whole joke kept going on about the Ted Kaczynski thing, and just how much we talk about him. He's just because his manifesto was so fucking good. I just like we were just obsessed about it. I wonder.
Oh, you could like cover that, like probably do episodes.
Oh yeah, you could do a whole series on that, and it was because we did 2 episodes on the Unabomber. Like, we did an actual like breakdown, and this is where all my notes are from our actual breakdown, and then the bonus episode where the Unabomber didn't kill himself. That was just basically me just going crazy, just going nuts, like just going like. Well, because like the Patreon, what we do is we do that one is less structured. We just have like a bunch of topics, and then like we just kind of riff on them all. Like, oh yeah, what's going on? Oh, fucking Unabomber died, and like my buddy, Adam was like, hey, we gotta. This is what we gotta talk about. This is big. This is our thing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something you could go on about.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, so like where were we with this guy?
So he's
I still found that 17 years, of course. Like, see, like even the 13, like even I hate see now I'm taking it off the topic again. I hate to bring it up again though, real quick, but like even the Gilgo Beach, this is 13 years later. Now they're talking about Tupac 13 years later.
Yeah, what is that? I haven't looked in. I was like, wait.
There's a lot of 1 and 3s getting thrown around.
Yeah, why? So why is Tupac being talked about again? Like, I was like, what?
And then
like,
you got 17 with this guy. It's just...
Dude, that's like the first conspiracy theory I got into as a child. I was like, Tupac is alive.
And see, like, I think a perfect example, like, I often use like 17 as kind of like, in my opinion, as like kind of like beast-like energy, a very explosive energy that, like, if it's untamed, I think can even cause like death and destruction. Now, this guy did this shit for 17 years, and he was sending bombs. Now, I'm not saying, like, this guy was definitely, like, an occultist or a magician. But from my aspect, I could see all this stuff making sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, numerically and with occult symbolism, it's like, okay, this guy was 17 and bombs blowing up. You know, it's just, it's total symbolism for me.
Yeah, and the thing about Ted Kaczynski is he was a maniac. Like, he was obsessed, and I want to make that clear. I don't support people bombing schools. I don't support any of that stuff. It's a joke. I always have to put that out there. Parody.
Of course,
man. We do a comedy podcast, and we cover. But what he was a maniac. And one of the first times he injured somebody is he sent this bomb to, like, I think he sent it to Berkeley, and the guy, it might have, I don't even think it was a professor. I think it was like a teacher's assistant, and the guy like blew his hand off, and Ted Kaczynski thought it was the funniest shit ever. because he thought like that's all he would talk about. He's like, he was so pumped up, he blew that guy's hand off because he just wants to kill a bunch of scientists because he thinks. So when you get into the head of Ted Kaczynski, you got to remember that this guy fucking hates all technology. Like the guy lived in a shack. Like he lived in like a 17 by 10 fucking shack. It looks like it's basically a shed.
Yeah.
Where he like shit in a bucket and fucking like he also pissed in that bucket. Like he had a fucking toilet in his fucking shack. Like there's nothing in there but his bomb equipment and fucking a place where he pisses and shits. So he hates all technology. And he believes these scientists are creating like this like artificial intelligent world that's going to end up being the demise of mankind.
Oh, it wasn't too far off, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you, like he was just great on this stuff. Like he just knew it. He got it.
Yeah,
like,
no, he saw what was coming, I guess. See, and then this is even times where it's like you wonder, like, like, do these people like know because of like the circles of people that are around, what they're involved in? You know,
yeah.
Could he have even just been privy in some way of even knowing that was like an agenda? You know, at some point, or just came across it, maybe saw it when, who knows? So many different ways he could have came to that idea, but I wonder if it's because of being connected around situations. He was the weirdest part is like how he got caught was like through his sister-in-law who fucking hated him. He hated her for some reason. Well, he hated women. So like he like his brother who he was close with his whole life gets married to this woman, and then that's kind of like how they stopped talking. He would always talk about how much he hates his wife, even though he never met her. But the reason they found out is because he wrote a manifesto before the manifesto, and it was like in his fucking mom's house, and they put out the manifesto on the newspaper, like the new one, obviously, and he would say this word, you can't have your cake and eat it, but he had a certain way that he said the term that only him and his mom would say, but apparently it's the right way to say the term. And then his sister-in-law was like, that sounds like your brother. And he's like, no. And then like they kept reading all the stuff. They're like, that's Ted. That's Teddy. And like that. And then they find this old manifesto that he wrote at his mom's house. And it's fucking almost identical. And that they're like, all right, okay, it is him. Wow. Like imagine that. Imagine like your fucking, like your brother or whatever. He ends up being the largest fucking murderous criminal, like the most wanted person. Yeah. You find out like, oh shit, really?
I'm like, come on, man.
This guy's been on the news.
Yeah,
for a while.
Like, dude, we used to share we used to share rooms and like fucking like all that kind of shit. Like we're over here fucking blowing up scientists. Like, what's going on over here?
Maybe because it's almost getting to about 50 minutes now, you want to maybe get into like what you think actually happened to him, or or is it more of like, or do you just more of like why you just don't think it ended up this way? Whichever way it is.
I think the way this got popularized is he committed suicide, and that's where people were like now every suicide, and it's the running joke in the conspiracy community is when someone, well, not really joke, when someone commits suicide, you're like, well, wait, what, why, like who killed him?
Yes, yeah,
because like he was 81, he had cancer, so that maybe he killed himself because of that, but it's not like the Mark Middleton thing, or like all the fucking people associated with the Clintons, or it's not Jeffrey Epstein, where the cameras turned off. But it's I don't know. We started it off with saying he didn't kill himself, but like the more you get into like the facts of it, you're like, he's 81 years old, so he probably killed himself because he had this like fucking brutal cancer he was fighting, and like, and why wouldn't he kill himself before? Like, what is he gonna hold this secret? Does he know who fucking killed JFK, or like what is your theory? I know you have you looked into this?
No, not. I mean, not too much. I mean, I did find the guy interesting, and I have, I remember this stuff when I was younger, on the news, and I thought it was like fucking wild. Yeah. I was like, yo, this guy's doing what? But I just, again, because of like just knowing certain things about him, I just didn't buy that he. Again, I think sometimes they'll just. I don't know. I mean, again, like you said, he was old. And I could see it being a possibility, but sometimes I just think that like they might, kind of just take care of their own. I don't know, or is he getting to the point to where like he might actually just have zero fucks because he knows he's gonna die, and could he start running his mouth or even acting weirder or saying weird? Who knows?
I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard this around. I think we covered this in the episode. I think the guy that did. Like the medical examiner, I think he had the same medical examiner as Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know if that's true or not. I heard that somewhere. Right. And like I was saying in that episode, we were just saying wild shit, wild baseless shit. But if that's true, that's pretty interesting.
What was actually his? What was the way he killed himself?
Believe.
Oh, he hung himself. Yeah.
Hung himself. Yeah, I don't know another way. Another way you can kill yourself in prison, unless you get poisoned. But would you want to poison yourself with cyanide? I don't think so. That's a worse way to die.
Even with Epstein, because I can even tell you from my own experience, unfortunately, I did end up going through the feds. I did 2 years for steroids and shit. And I went through that same place just for like processing and like you could be there and wait in court or whatever. But, like, I know for a fact that, like, if they're going to put you in one of those cells, there is no way you can, I don't buy you can really hang yourself in those things.
No way. No. Like,
like, if he was on suicide watch, the type of clothes he's going to get is going to be different. It's going to look like, again, like when you even see those pictures of Rex Heuermann, you can tell he's wearing, like, a Velcroed suit. That's what, he would have that. The lights in the ceiling, there's no way you're busting that out and even trying to hang from there. There's just like nothing to hang yourself with. If you get a pen to even write a letter, it's not going to even have the hand. It's literally going to be the ink tube in the end. You can't even stab yourself with that thing and try to stick yourself in the neck and bleed out. Like they really make sure you can't knock yourself off in those things. I don't believe that shit at all. With Epstein.
It's like the whole Epstein. If you see his like the pictures of him like right before they're about to like cut his head open or whatever they do during what's it called when I just went blank on when you're like when the medical examiners cut you open when you see the picture
the
of
autopsy.
The autopsy. I don't know why I couldn't remember that word.
It's all right.
But yeah, so. That looks like a different person. And I know that sounds crazy, but there is a theory that Jeffrey Epstein is not dead, and that person there was another person. And that's a fun rabbit hole. And that's basically what the shit.
Believe it or not, I would actually believe more that I know this sounds very out there, but like I'd believe more that he's still alive and that he never died at all.
Yeah, his story.
I could totally understand if there's a fake body for the cameras.
Yeah, like we did 4 episodes on Jeffrey Epstein about like the whole history of him, and he's an interesting dude because he doesn't really. No one knows where he gets his money from, but he's like really like charismatic. He's like a guy there. Like he was a known child predator. Like his whole like. He was put into a school as a teacher, even though he was like a college dropout. And the guy that got him the job was a guy named Bill Barr's fucking dad. Bill Barr. Yeah, and Bill Barr's dad was in charge. He was like an OSS guy. Like, in the OSS is like the precursor to the CIA. Like, really fucking interesting shit. Like, all these connections. Like that, it's like a huge web. I know Casolaro called it the octopus of global control. So like, it's just it's millions of arms, of connecting things. Like, you have Mossad, you have BCCI, which was a bank they use. You have the Afghanis, you have the CIA, you have MI6, you have politicians around the world, you have presidents. Like, it's huge. Like,
I do think he was possibly into like kind of like eugenicist.
Oh yeah, he was 100%. Like, that's documented. He was into eugenics. All these guys are into eugenics. Like, and just the people they're connected to, like Bill Gates. Bill Gates, his dad was eugenicist. So was he. Bill Gates' dad was like on the board of Planned Parenthood. Like, and like, these guys are connected to like Club of Rome. Club of Rome believed in depopulation. Just it will take you to a whole web of fucking depopulation shit. Like Agenda 21, like the United Nations. Like, they're all connected. And this is my insanity, my schizophrenia is just seeing all this shit. I'm like, oh fuck, it's all connected. It's like the Charlie Day meme where he's like pointing up and like the mail never stops. This is what happens. And this is what it is. It's a conspiracy board. We're gonna start doing that in the episodes because we have a whiteboard where I just start drawing connections.
That's great. That's cool as shit. I've seen a couple of people I watch on YouTube do stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was saying, him being a eugenist, I think because, in my opinion, the people who are kind of in positions of power recently and for a while, I think, are very big into that. So I question like wouldn't he actually kind of probably be worth it more, like everybody thinking he's dead and using him for what he's good at doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I just wonder, like, is he still, did he just graduate to something else and he just wrote him off in the story like that?
Well, the thing about Jeffrey Epstein is he used to fund a lot of universities' science departments. So like, he was a big funder in this kind of stuff. And and I like, why wouldn't a guy like that be able to get some plastic surgery on his face? I think he had a passport to like Australia as a different name, which was weird. Like that's documented. That's a real thing that happened. That was like, why do you have, I think it was either Australia or Austria. I don't fucking remember. It's been a while. But if he's connected to the most powerful people in the world and they know this is like their like real charismatic guy, because he's not the leader, he's like more of a middle management guy, but he is very important. So like, why wouldn't they be? He would, if anything, he would have the power to fake his death and then just get moved around like he's a Catholic priest or something, or fucking Michael Aquino in the United States government.
So back to the Unabomber, and then maybe we'll talk about this a little bit, and then we'll probably just wrap it up if that's okay with you. Unfortunately, I have another show at 2:30, so I need to like have a little bit of a break. Yeah. If he didn't, what do you think is a possibility of theories that did happen? Then, if he didn't kill himself, what do you think? Why or who do you think might have been involved, or what happened?
I don't know if there's like an actual like real theory. Well, he did because I think they're done once they're done with you. It's kind of weird that he lived for so long.
Yeah, I do think that's actually, tell you the truth. Yeah, that he got to 81. I do find that weird.
Yeah, and he was it's kind of weird because he was in the same prison as Timothy McVeigh, and I know they talked while they're in there. I don't know if he was in solitary, if any of those guys were in solitary for that long, but I know they did come across each other, and that was one of the things that I was thinking about. I wonder if they like were kind of would not really show their notes, but they'd be like, "Oh yeah, how'd you do this and this?" But like, I mean, Ted Kaczynski is a much better bomb maker. Like the whole thing with Timothy McVeigh, there's no fucking way that a fertilizer bomb can knock down a building like that. It's fucking impossible. Even like the guy that created the neutron bomb, he even said that. He's like, no, that didn't happen. Like there's more than one bomb in there. Oh. And I don't know if I want to get too far into the Oklahoma City bombing, which that is I don't know if you've ever went down that one is fucking weird. There's a lot of suicides in that one. There's a lot of reported multiple bombs, like the original reports where there was multiple bombs there. There is also stuff with like Hillary Clinton and some of the paperwork that was in there was like from the Whitewater scandal or something like that. I don't remember which one it was. But there was like a paperwork from a scandal because it was a federal building. The Murrah building was a federal building. So there's documents in there that were completely destroyed. And
that's
I mean, yeah.
It's like the Pentagon with 9/11.
Yeah. Losing two. We can't account for $2.3 trillion. And the next day, where they would do an investigation. Oh, it got blown up. And they're like, oh, it was an airplane. Like, bullshit, show me the video. There's no, you have that 1 frame per second video. That's the only video you have. That was a bomb. Where's all the plane? I mean, I could be that Pentagon one is fucking strange. I'm telling you, man, all these guys have the same MO. They keep doing the same shit.
Yeah. Now, if you think it was possible that he might have been kind of it's obvious that he was, involved in MKUltra. Do you think it's possible that like that may have had something to do with his death, or?
No, I think for the most part, I think he was used. They used him to make these bombs, and if there is actual legislation that went through to surveil people more, I think that's what the purpose of a Ted Kaczynski is. He's like a guy that they use just for fucking. They create this genius the only thing he does is make bombs. Imagine that's the only thing you do is make bombs.
Stuck in a loop.
And you're a fucking genius, and that's all you can obsess it. And I just saw what his MO was. It was a cigar box. So he would use cigar boxes for these bombs, and he had he would write not his initials. He would write some other type of initials. I think it was I can't remember what the initials were, but there was a certain initials in there, so that's how they knew who was making the bombs. But MKUltra's already been exposed, but it's not all the documents. Most of the other documents were destroyed. I think there's only the ones that they exposed in the church committee was only maybe 10% of them. There's 90% of shit that never was seen.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and the church committee, there's a lot of shit with that one. That's Operation Mockingbird is one of them. That's one where the CIA is involved with controlling the media.
Oh,
telling you, it's all connected.
Oh no, I definitely think so. That's why I was saying, I don't think MKUltra is just hallucinogenics and drugs.
And it's also not over. They're still using it.
Yes.
You think? When was the last time the government was like, "All right, we're gonna"? The government's never we're gonna shrink this program because we don't need it anymore. No, we're gonna keep this thing around, and then we're gonna turn it into something else. MKUltra wasn't always called MKUltra. It was called Project Artichoke, and there was a different name for it. It was basically for creating sleeper cells to create for assassinations.
Yeah. And I think just studying how to manipulate people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing where I agree when you said it's still going on now, and why I think mentioning drugs isn't the main goal is because I do think just from me and Thrash are covering it, and it's going to be a couple of episodes, but from my opinion, I do think drugs was a main thing at the beginning. But I think they started to realize that you were able to affect people without drugs. And I think that's where they're using it more now through like media and shit.
It's like they used all during the LSD, they gave it to the Beatles, and like they gave it to what's his name, Jim Morrison from the Doors, and like all these guys were on LSD. Jim Morrison's dad, I don't know if you know about this, but he was on he was like one of the fleet commanders.
He was in the service. I know that.
Yeah, but Gulf of Tonkin. Like
that's right. Yes.
Yeah, he's a son of that guy. And these guys are being used for operations. Like that's just what they did. They used celebrities, they used musicians, and then they're using it on regular people. It was just this huge program. Like it was a massive amount of. I mean, the amount of LSD they bought for that is fucking crazy. They bought it basically the
Yes, yeah. I remember coming across that because I think we mentioned it. If we didn't mention it, it is something that I know we're going to bring up. But then they but I do find that weird. But like according to them, they admit to like purchasing like almost all the LSD.
Dude, it's like I think it was like 90% of it.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that, and I was just like, "What?"
Yeah, and their explanation is wild. They're just like, "We just wanted to keep it away from the Soviets," so they started fucking dosing American citizens. Like, what?
Yeah, it's just the whole story is just so shady in general. With MKUltra and with the LSD and what they were doing with it.
Yeah, I want to do another breakdown of MKUltra. I pulled out because what we used to do is we had our older episodes when we first started up. It was like 4 of us, and we were at the old studio at this podcast studio that I worked at, and like I would do these really deep dives, and then everyone in the room would just be fucking hammered. Like we were just too drunk to do the show, and like we would just go on these tangents. So like I recently I just took the episodes down and put them on Patreon. Mm-hmm. Just so like if people are just discovering the show, they're like, what the fuck is this? You guys are talking about fucking you guys are talking about Hulk Hogan and WrestleMania 2. Like, what are we doing?
Oh man. It's a good way to show them like, what you're all about and everything. Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll just end it there, if that's all right with you.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was a good chat, and I had a lot of fun. It was very interesting, because there was a lot of things about him I didn't even know, so I thought that was good for me. You want to let everybody know where they can find all of your stuff. Plug all of, like, your social media and all your outlets where they could find your video and your audio, please.
Oh, yeah. So definitely in audio. You can find us everywhere, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, wherever the fuck, Podcast Addict. I don't know what people are using these days. I use Spotify. But you can find us, just look at Con Men Podcast. It's men. Some people look up Con Man Podcast, but it's Con Men Podcast. Con Men, yes. You can find us on Instagram, con_men_podcast, Twitter, Con Man Podcast 1, Rumble, YouTube. If you want to support us, patreon.com/Con Men Podcast, and then the food show MKUltrEats. So like,
that's awesome.
Check that out. We got some really good food on there. I did barbacoa. I've done like fried chicken sandwiches. I teach you how to do a fucking reverse sear ribeye. Like and the video quality is really good. It's getting better.
Nice. I'll have to check that out myself.
So and I'll send you all the links or whatever.
Yeah, please, because everybody, you can find all these links that he's talking about. I will put them down in the show notes. So after this, whenever you have time, just send me all your links, and I will include them in the bottom.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Thank you very much for coming on. Like we just said, his links are in the bottom. Go check out their stuff. Go hit up their YouTube if you have YouTube. And that is thank you for coming on. Yeah. And that is the end of another NY Patriot episode, and until the next one, everybody be well. Later.